We created a project yesterday. So for that, we are implementing using Retrofit. So for the Retrofit here now, I'm collecting this Gradle bits. So Gradles, this no need to remember because every time it will be updated versions. So you should take from somewhere. So that should be okay. And then remaining code will write regularly. So this, once you collected this, so that you can add here in dependencies. Here you will add in dependencies. See here, just you can remember one thing, like outside, if I search these dependencies, maybe it will like with single colon, like it is a double quotes it is coming, but it normally come with a single colon, and without this bracket it will come. That is, if in case your project is in Java, it should be like even those dependencies also you can copy, and later on you can update this, it is fine. So here, maybe some of the version upgradation is expecting this, so you can update that version because that I posted that lag back. So now the latest version, you can update the latest version here, it will show C 2.9.0. So 2.10 like this you can update. So this is fine. Right now, let us sync now. So once the syncing has done, we can able to do here. So I think yesterday here we added the data binding we added here. So even in XML we added the data binding. While loading that here, we can enable the data binding here. Where binding column. So that is activity main binding equal to null. Right then here binding equal to, so that is data binding util dot set content. That's right here we will add this. Right. So once this is done, here next, here we can import this binding also. Once we can import this binding, we will apply the listener for the button. Okay. So binding that. So I think we return button ID as registered dot set on click listener. So I'm applying the on click listener. So within this, first we have to collect the data as it is the regular process, that is where. So first of all, username, I want to collect the username equal to, so that is binding dot. Right here, we are using material concept, right? So here one small difference will come. So instead of directly I'm writing, I'll show you that there is a small difference will come, like selecting data from material component, it will be little bit different. So dependency creation is taking too much time. Yes. Because total 3 dependencies, right? So to set up those 3 dependencies, it is taking time. So, but here next step, I'll write here simply like I want to take the data, whatever the data which is coming from the XML side, so that we has to assign to the JSON object. So that for the JSON object we are assigning the data. So for that reason, so here I am declaring the JSON object. So JSON object. So JSON object, I'm declaring here the JSON object. So for this JSON object, now we can assign the data, that is whatever we declared here above, the JSON object dot put. So in this, now we will write key comma values. Key, this is the key, and second one is the value. Like this we will write. So key comma value. So what is key here? What is value? Key is nothing but which is we are collecting from the API document. So here total we have 3 keys, and values we are gathering from the XML side. XML values, how we are gathering that. So here keys. So this is the request we are doing, right? So first one is the username. Here I am changing this as a username. Right, first key, this is I'm changing as a username. Second key is password. So I'm updating this here password. Third key, so third key is the email. So total 3 parameters I have updated here slide. So key values and this. So this also we will get this from the user side. Like we will see that once it is clear here. Now, so it's taking time. Set on please. Okay, wait, we will write var username equal to, so that is binding dot. So we'll collect here IDs, what are the IDs we given. So that we will write there one by one. So first one username. So ID we given as the username. So username. Here username dot. So in case of regular edit text, we'll directly will write here text. But here for this case, we used to write one thing extra, that is edit text dot text. We used to write this is the extra. So here, whatever the text I'm getting, that I'm converting into string, and also finally I'm doing the trim. So trim means it can avoid the spaces. What are the spaces as there in starting and ending? So it can avoid those starting and ending cases, right? So that should be here. Now here I'm writing for the next two. So this is the user mobile is not there, right? User email. So user email and user password, right? Like this, I have written these things. Now, what are the things? This we have to change the names, right? So, what is the IDs we given here? So, first one, next is the email password. So, this is the email. Here, this is the email. This is the password. Like this, we give it. Right here. I'm updating those values. Like here, what are the values we are getting there? That values here I'm sending. So that is a username. Right here, user email, user email, next user password. So user password. Right, whatever they we created, that we are sending here. Now here we used to import. Import is not done. So in case if you already I told, in case if you this got like this, you can cut and to paste again, so that it will ask the imports and these things. See, now it is asking that. So now we can import this. Activity main bind. So we already having this data binding. Here also data binding enabled. So then why it is not showing? At least we can import this JSON object. Okay, JSON object has imported. Right. Next here. So in case if you feel like this, you can rebuild the project so that it will be resolved. It's taking too much time. So we'll do one thing, just we will import, we'll copy those two imports from here and we will continue further. So that is data binding with these two. We will but even this. So this is the package name, here it will come. So the package name I'll paste here. So that binding will be here. The data binding should be update now here. But still because of this loading, right, it is not updated. Right. So this data binding will update here. Now after this, now here we will write JSON retrofit code. So on a retrofit code, that is the first step is whatever I created the JSON object, right? So that is the first step. So what is the JSON object I have to? So JSON object is the system, right? Now here, once the data is available in a JSON object, now we supposed to do the next step. So what is that next step here? So we need to give the data from this to retrofit. So here we are creating one var retrofit request we are creating here. So that is var retrofit equal to, so retrofit, so retrofit dot builder. So this normally it automatically it will come while we are doing this. So builder, after this here we used to write the base URL. So I'll explain what is base URL here. So the base URL, after the base URL here, now we'll add here. Wait, in case if this will come, this will come automatically. So here the base URL, after the base URL, it will come as a add converter factory. So add, we will wait for this because it should automatically generate, means you will also feel like, okay, it is. So here base URL means, so whatever the URL here we are using, so up to certain level of URL we will treat as a, this is the complete URL, but up to certain level of URL is common for all APIs, like this is the test. So till test, my all API should be the same. So that's the reason that we can treat as a base URL, so that we can paste here, or here I can write like this base. So base URL. So I'll write like this. So here I'll create one where base URL equal to this. I'll paste here like this. So where base URL, that base URL we are passing into this. Right. So then next here, so this is the add converter factory, that is a JSON converter factory we are adding. But once this import has came, then automatically this all will set it automatically. We will see that step. So meanwhile, we'll open the Postman also here. Okay. There is some compilation error. Let it be. Still it is expecting something. Here it is clear. Here also it is clear. Data binding and this we are writing within this only. Is clear. If it is, it won't feel clear. It should not create like this. So for this data binding is not generating. That is the issue here now. Okay, let the data binding will keep it side. If even this will be resolved. Yeah, this has came. Okay, we will continue from here. The data binding, once we'll project restart automatically, that will be created here. See now that I'm building here the retrofit request. So to build retrofit request here, so what we added here, now we added the retrofit.builder. So after that base URL, then here we used to add convert refactory. So that we are adding here now. So that is add convert refactory, that is JSON convert refactory. Wait, so that is okay. Even I started 6 p.m. only the laptop restarted, but still it is today very slow. JSON convert refactory. So dot create. So here we are creating a request. Right. After that, so here we used to write that build. JSON converter. JSON converter. Okay, we used to import this. So that's the reason it is showing error. So import has done. Right. So this is the basic. Your basic thing has created here. This is the basic thing has created here. Done. Built. Then once this is basic thing has created here, now I'm creating one interface so that I'm adding that retro interface. This interface is common for the entire project. So that with reference of this retrofit, I'm creating here one interface. So that I'm writing here retrofit dot create. So I'm creating create. Right within this, I'm giving the name of the interface that I'm creating as the sample interface. So sample interface : class dot Java. Right. So now with this name, so we used to create an interface. So create a class. So with the separate class, right? One separate class has created. Right. Once this has created, now this is not a class. This we will change here as an interface. Also, this I want to use an entire project with different classes, right? So that's the reason I'm changing that as a public interface. Right. So within this now, so we used to write headers. So what are the headers? Like yesterday, I already told there is some headers it will ask, but for the always the default headers are, so always for the default headers as content type JSON application. So that is the default because we are sending the data in the form of JSON format. So that's the reason content type, this is application slash JSON. So we used to write like this, right? Then after that, so what is the request type? So whatever the request we are doing, that request is the post. So we used to write here the post request. So that is the post. So what is the remaining part of the URL? So we used up to certain level of URL there and remaining part of the URL here. So that is the, so somewhere we copied, right? So here we copied that URL up to this. So after this register here, there's something mistake here. So this is the remaining part of the URL. Means extension of each URL, remaining part of the URL we will write here, right? So that is the registration raw.php. This is the remaining. After that, here I'm creating one function. So that function create user means this particular request I'm using to register user, right? So that's the reason I'm using here create user, or we can write register user. But how we are sending this data? So we are sending the data in the form of body, right? So in the form of body. So that is in the form of, here we used to select SC. Initially, I've written there. So that is the JSON object. So here we used to add JSON object. But how to identify JSON object and JSON object? See, there is a small difference. ORG. So ORG, see, up to O, JSON, O. Till that, if it is a capital letter, it is a JSON. But here we used to sending the JSON because this retrofit accept the request in the form of JSON. So that's the reason here we are sending data in the form of body, that is in the form of JSON object, right? So that we are writing here. Then after here, now what should I write here? I have to create a call for this, means colon, it should be extended as a call. So what call that is? So here we are extending as a call. So that call is here nothing but this. So that is here I'm creating as a register response. So register response is the my user defined here. So I'm defining that register call. It means whatever the response we are getting from the server side, that response. But here, when I'm defining this call, here you can choose the proper like retrofit, because we are using this as a retrofit related retrofit type. Now with this name, you can create a Java class. Why Java class? I'll tell you. There is a specific reason. So you need to create a Java class from here. So Java. So Java class has created here like this, right? So now go to browser, go to Postman. So from the Postman, you need to collect the positive response, success response. You need to collect the success response of that particular request. What request we are doing here? We are checking with the register using the raw data, right? So that particular this URL. So you need to send a request and collect the proper information. Like here, I'm writing this, sending this. So here, once I send this has came, like copy this and come here in a browser. So here JSON schema to pojo.org. You can open this URL I'll share you. Here you can collect this URL, and here whatever the JSON response that you can paste here. Here you can select the JSON to JSON converter, because this is reading the data in the form of JSON, right? Whatever the response it is coming in a JSON, that we are converting into the JSON format. So here, like even we can write in own also, like this much of code it is generated for setter getter method. For this we can say has a Pojo class. So the Pojo class has created with the setter and getter methods, right? Copy this code, and here you can paste that code within this, right? Now means always this can be created in the name of example class. So you can skip the example class and you can use this imports on the top of this. So imports we can use on top of the our class name, right? You can import. See now this is created like this, right? Now, so here for this class, so this class has created like this, right? So setter and getter methods are set it like this. Now select all. This you can convert into the Kotlin. So select all, Control Shift Alt K. So that URL and the shortcut key I'll send you on WhatsApp. So Control Shift Alt K is converting from Java to Kotlin. See now the whatever the Pojo class we have created that has converted into the Kotlin format, right? So here this is converted into the Kotlin, right? But here by seeing this, okay, 4 lines of code, why we can write here because setter and getter methods are common. That's the reason it is shortcut. But generally, if other class, if you can go with other response, whenever this response is lengthy, so we will face the problem. That's the reason. So we have to create it like this here using that. And after that, back to here, main class. So here now we used to add something here. So that sample interface, it is created, right? Then whatever the request we are collecting in a JSON object, so that we have to add here in the form of, so I think what it is imported, JSON or it is imported properly only, but still okay. So here I'm converting into this JSON object. So from the JSON to JSON we'll convert, like I'll put something ABC equal to, so I'm using the JSON parser. So JSON parser dot parse. So I'm parsing the data. What data I'm parsing? Whatever the JSON object, so that we can take in the form of string, and that it convert as a so that is capital JSON object, right? This is the small, means it is the converted as the Google JSON. So it is converted as a Google JSON. Right, like this it is converted. This is the next. So here we used to import this. So once we imported this, then it is converted this as done. After that, so there are last 2 steps. So the project, this program will complete. So that is where, so whatever this, I want to create one response class. So that is here I'm creating the register response. So whatever the register response, I have to capture here with reference of this interface. So in interface, we used to pass this because from the interface only we are calling that method, right? So that I'm calling here, that is retro interface dot. So whatever the user method we created, that is a user, create user, right? Create user. Within this, I want to pass the data which we converted into the JSON, right? Next, here last method, this is the whatever the register response we created. So for that, we have to create a one class, that is the register response dot enqueue method. We will create one method called that is a enqueue method. So this enqueue method will define, like automatically it will give the positive response and negative response automatically will give, that is object dot with reference of the retrofit we have to write this. So that is retrofit to dot, wait, retrofit to dot callback. So here it is expecting one callback method to call the response. So which response here we are calling? So we created one response class, right? That is what is that registered response. So this response we used to call here this, right? So after this now, so here we need to create the open function. So here it has 2 unimplemented methods. So one is the onResponse, right? Next is the on failure. So here, next is the on failure. Means if any failure case will come, that will execute automatically this failure method. In case of positive method will come, means failure case means like not our side mistake, that is system side. If any failures will happen, like internet connectivity is not there, any exceptions has occurred, so that directly jump into this, and other cases will come to this. So here now, here we will write one toast. So to write directly pass on that into here. So toast dot make text right within this at the rate main activity. So comma here, whatever the response it is coming, that directly I am throwing here. That is the next is the toast dot. So length long right dot finally dot show. Right. So as of now, this is done. Only if we handle here the success case, the program has done. But how to handle the success case, we will see in our next class. And meanwhile, this anyhow that project will restart, right? So if the project will restart, automatically this above data binding issues will also clear, so that we will add positive response here, and we can run and we can discuss on the next steps of this program.